Hey everybody, Shaun Stevenson here from Shaun Stevenson Books, the author of the Throne series, and I wanted to come on today and just share with you that I only read 6 books this past month, but there were some good ones and some new ones that I hadn't heard of before, a really old one and a few really old ones. So I'm excited to share these with you. The first book that I read last month was Kid Men by Ryan Frank, and this is a very short little book. It was put out by the Kids Matter Publishing, which is an independent publisher. And this book is all just kind of filled with little devotionals for men, especially who work in children's ministry. So this is a children's ministry book. It's a manifesto for men in children's ministry. I will say after reading it, I did think, I don't really know what was so specific to men about this book. It seemed like anyone could have read it, but it was really well put together. A lot of great little devotional thoughts. This is a perfect book if you help out in children's ministry at your church and you have someone that you're trying to encourage to be part of that children's ministry. This is a great little book that would be encouraging to someone to read almost as a devotional daily. I read it straight through and I thought it would be better as a daily devotional rather than trying to read it, in one sitting all the way through. So it has tons of practical tips and things like that for working with kids in church. And I thought it was a fun little book and definitely one that's worth the read if you are working in children's ministry and looking for something devotional to read. The next book I read, I am so excited about these, is a picture book called God, I Feel Scared by Michelle Neitert and Tama Fortner. Now, this is an amazing, amazing picture book, especially if you have kids who get scared easily. This book just takes kids through how do you deal with emotions like feeling scared? What does your body do when you feel scared? Your teeth might chatter. You might shake a little bit. You might want to close your eyes. This book was incredible. It is one that I'm already recommending to people in my life who have kids who are saying, yeah, my kid's feeling afraid of the dark and afraid of the storms and things like that. This is a wonderful book that teaches kids to talk to God about how they feel and that emotions are something that God gave us, and that is okay to feel those emotions and to process through them. It gives kids some practical tips on breathing, like how to take a moment just to breathe and to think. So God, I Feel Scared is definitely one I would recommend for any church library, for any personal home library if you have kids that are in that 3 to probably 8 range. This is a great book. There's also one other one that they put together called God, I Feel Sad, and I also highly recommend that one. This one just came out. It's a brand new release from Zonder Kids, so it is worth the pickup for sure. The next book I read was a little bit older, and it is called Write Better, a lifelong editor on craft art and spirituality by Andrew T. LePew. Now, this book is a book on writing. So if you are an author, someone who likes to write short stories, novels, fiction, or nonfiction, this is a great, great book. It really focuses a little more on nonfiction than fiction, and it kind of talks about things that are so practical, like how to pick a title for something. And I loved this book. I plowed through it, really enjoyed it. There's 3 main sections to the book. The first section kind of deals with just the idea of how do you write? What is writing? What's the craft of writing? And then it goes into the art of writing in part 2. And then part 3 is the spirituality of writing, or writing as a spiritual practice, which I thought was really great. I'm a pastor to kids in my regular life, and this is a great book to think about when you are writing and how to pause and just take that moment to spend time with God as you write, and using it as a spiritual practice and a way to connect with God through journaling, through writing out prayers, through writing out a story, through writing an article, etc. So this is a great book. This is a hardcover edition, which is actually only available to InterVarsity Press authors who are writing books for InterVarsity Press. Normally this is in a paperback, but I found this one used at a local bookstore. And so I had to pick that up. It was a great find. I really enjoyed it. The next book I read, I've talked about a little bit already, is Pizza with Extra Creeps in the SpineChillers series, number 4, by Fred E. Katz. And this book is a fun, goosebumpsy throwback. If you like Goosebumps type stories, but with a Christian twist, this is the book for you. So this one is Pizza with Extra Creeps, and it's all about a kid who starts to eat a lot of pizza with a lot of extra cheese. And all that extra cheese might just be affecting him a little bit. And so the main character thinks that there might be a ghost or a witch living in their house that they just moved into, and he's finding mysterious things in the attic. He's also finding a mysterious secret room behind one of the closets. There's a lot of fun stuff that goes on in this book. It does have a part that I kind of call a runaround part in the middle, where the characters keep running from place to place and the same things keep happening to them. And so it just kind of like loops for a minute until they finally get to a graveyard in the kind of second half. And in that part, once they get to the graveyard, there are some fun stories that get told in the graveyard about the graveyard, and that is where the book takes off. The twist ending I saw coming pretty early on. I thought, oh, I bet it's this. And it ended up being that, but it was still a fun read. All right, so the next book I read is another goosebumpsy type book called The Rat That Ate Poodles. This is book number 1 in the Heebie-Jeebie series by Paul Buchanan and Randall. And this book is a lot of fun. I actually liked it better than a SpineChillers book, even though I've known about SpineChillers for a longer amount of time. I just recently found out about these when I saw one of them at a local used bookstore, and I thought, what is that series? I need to find out and get all of those books. So I picked up book number 1 through 10, the whole series, and I read number 1, and it was a lot of fun. I will say, in this book, there's actually a lot of danger, and that is very different from a SpineChillers, where SpineChillers will have these cliffhanger chapter endings where it's like something jumped out, and then next page it ends up being the dog that is the family dog that jumped up on someone. So, but in this series, there's more danger that's going on. There are more thrills, there's a little more suspense, and there's sometimes a villain in the book. And so these books are a lot of fun. In this first one, the main character, Daniel, has been asked by his dad to clean out the garage. And so while he's cleaning out the garage, he accidentally breaks his dad's old chemistry set. And all the chemicals spill together and create this green goo that the rat then eats. And the rat starts to grow. And Daniel is worried about what's going to happen when the rat gets so big that it gets hungry. And the rat starts to maybe eat the local dogs in the neighborhood. And so there is a really creepy, chilling scene in the middle of this book where Daniel is at home, can't sleep, and the rat attacks. What is going on? You'll have to read to find out. And I will say the twist ending, I didn't see it coming, but it made sense. And I thought, oh, okay, that's pretty good. I like that. But then it did take down the scare level a tiny bit. So that is the Heebie-Jeebies series, book number 1, The Rat That Ate Poodles. The next book I read, and the last book I read for October, was Welcome to Camp Creeps, book number 2 in the Heebie-Jeebies series. This one was written by Randall, and I have to say, this book legit was creepy. The main characters are this brother and sister who are camping with their family, and they're out on a hike in the woods when the brother and sister find an abandoned camp. There's like abandoned cabins and the dining hall, and there's an old chapel, and they are wondering what happened to this camp. And while they're there appears to be a phantom and a wolf that are scaring them away from the camp. So they're wondering what's going on at the camp, and they come to find out that their dad might just know all along what's going on in the camp. So this was a fun read. This one had no runaround kind of stuff. It was straight through a lot of fun, and the main characters, they really interact well. There's great banter between the brother and sister, and some funny moments too that actually made me laugh. So I thought it was funny. It actually was a little scary, and the twist is good. I thought, oh, that's a great twist for this series. This series came out in the 90s, the late 90s. If you're looking for a book kind of like a Goosebumps type story from the 90s, this is a great alternative if you like to read books with a little bit of hope. I love Goosebumps books too, but these are kind of fun to read just to see what was going on in the Christian market. I also think what's fascinating about these, I used to work in a Christian bookstore, and these are published by Broadman and Holman. And these kind of books, I was like, the covers, I would never have guessed that a cover like this would be sold in a Christian bookstore. But here they are, and they were. So if you're looking for something fun to read, the Heebie-Jeebies series or SpineChillers, definitely both fun pickups. So I found these all used. The Heebie-Jeebies ones, I found one of them at a local bookstore, but then the rest of them I ordered on eBay, and it was fairly cheap as of the recording of this video. So those are all my reads for the month of October. I hope you got to read a lot of fun books this month. Put down in the comments below, what books did you read during October? Have you read any other books that I should know about that are fun reads or middle grade reads or writing reads or even children's ministry books? I love to read all of those things, and I am so excited to see what I end up reading in November. I don't usually make a to-be-read list because I am a little more spur of the moment than that. I kind of look at my shelves and decide, I haven't read that, let's read it, and then I go for it. So we'll see what November holds, and it should be a lot of fun. Well, until next time, keep reading books, and we'll see you later. Bye!